Okay, so now we're down to real word problems. And these are going to be more of the form of part over whole or total or whatever it is that they're talking about equals percent over 100. And hopefully you're noticing that this 100 is always in the problem. You're missing a part, a whole, or percent in all these problems. 100 is always there. So when you set them up, a lot of times people might even do this, right? Where they do this because they know that's going to be there. That's one way to think about it. Okay, so let's read this first question. A book collector has 425 books, 56% of which were published prior to 1900. How many books were published prior to 1900? So they put 1900 in here, but it turns out we don't really need that. That's just the year. But they do tell us that he has 425 books. So this is the whole. This is the total, right? If I consider the numerator in the left side, I mean the denominator in the left side, the total, that's the total of the books he has. The percent is 56. So I'm trying to figure out how much is 56%? What's that part? So this is the part. How many books were published prior to that? This is the P for this particular problem. So he's got 425 books, 56 were published before that. How many is that? So when I go to set this up, the thing I'm missing is this, right? The part. I don't have the part. The total, I do have 425. And the percent they told me was 56. So this is my proportion I'm setting up to solve for this percent. So like I said, it's similar to the other one. The part goes on top on the left, the total goes on the bottom on the left, and then the percent goes on the right. So if we use cross products to solve this, we get 100x equals 56 times 425. 100x equals 23880 when you multiply that out. So x is equal to, oh, I have a little error there. That's really a 0. 238. So it's 238 books. That's how many books were published prior to 1900. So 238 is 56% of 425 books. So let's look at our next one. 12 of the 28 dogs at the shelter are purebred. What percent of the dogs are purebred? So it's the percent that we don't know. That's what we're missing. So when we go to set this up, we know that that's what's missing. But where's the part, where's the whole? Well, it says 12 of the 28 dogs. So hopefully, if you look at that, 12 is the part and 28 is the total of the dogs. So I'm going to put 12 on top, part on top, total on the bottom, 12 over 28. And now I'm going to set this up to solve. 28x equals 12 times 100, which is 1200. Divide both sides by 28. I get x is equal to 42.8. And remember, they wanted to know what percent. I had to make sure of the dogs, right, were purebred. Okay, next, Bethany uses 8% of her weekly paycheck to pay for gas. So right away, we know that we get the percent. When we go to set this up, we know that we can put 8 over 100. Now we got to figure out the part and the whole in this problem. So she uses 8% of her weekly paycheck to pay for gas. If she spent $34.12 on gas this week, how much was her paycheck? So her paycheck is going to be the total, right? That's her total. And then the amount she spent on gas, that's the part. If she spent that part of her money, you know, well, how much was the total paycheck? If that's 8%, what's the total? So let's put 34.12 in the part, and then the paycheck is what's missing. That's going to be x. So 8x, 34.12 times 100 is 3,412. Divide both sides by 8. X is 426.50, but it's her paycheck. So her paycheck is $426.50. That's how much her paycheck was. And 34.12 is 8% of that she spent on gas. Okay, in Key West, Florida, it is sunny 75% of the days. So right away, you've got the percentage. So you know you can set this up as 75 over 100. But what's the part, what's the whole? Let's figure this out. So how many days would you expect it to be sunny in the month of October? So the month of October is going to be the total. And then how many days? So that's the part. What part of the month um, is sunny 75% of the time? So that's the X. But what about the month of October? Well, hopefully we all know Halloween is October 31st. There are 31 days in October, so the total is going to be 31. Let me just do a little bit of thinking there. 100x for my cross products equals 75 times 31. So 100x equals 23.25. Divide both sides by 100. So x equals 23.25. And that is days. How many days? Well, we have to kind of go with we have to round the days. So we have to have a whole day as our answer. It's going to be 23 or 24. So we're going to say, since it's closer to 23, we're going to say approximately 23 days. They want to know how many days it's going to expect it to be sunny. If 75% are sunny, so 23 is your best approximation of that. Okay, the last two. On the high school football team, 62.5% of the players are juniors and seniors. So right away, you know the percent. So you can set your equation up to be 62.5 over 100 on the right side. Now you're going to figure out the part and the whole. So 62.5% are juniors and seniors. If there are 11 juniors and 19 seniors on the team, find the total number of players. So they want you to find the total. So that's what is going to be on the bottom. That's what you're missing. That's going to be your X. But what goes on top? Well, 62.5% are juniors and seniors, and they're 11 and 19. So these guys make up the top. So you're going to have to do some math and add those up, but 11 plus 19 is 30. So this is 30 when you add it together. So 30 juniors and seniors, the total class is 62.5%. So let's do the cross products. 62.5 equals 30 times 100 is 3,000. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 62.5. Oops, for my X. X is going to be equal to 48. 48 what? Players, right? How many players are there? There's 48, and 30 of them are juniors and seniors. Okay, the last question. Jenna found that 15% of the Skittles in a bag of Skittles were purple. If there were 60 Skittles in the bag, how many were not purple? Okay, this question's a little kind of got a lot going on, but we kind of know our percent, right? 15% were purple Skittles. She told us there's 60 total Skittles in the bag. So they want to know how many were not purple, but first we're going to figure out how many were purple. So the thing that's missing were how many are purple, right? For this particular equation, but then we're gonna have to go back and figure out how many weren't purple. But we'll do this first, the purple part first. So let's set this up. So I know that I'm figuring out how many are purple and there's 60 in the bag, and I know that 15% are purple. So that's my equation. That's my part is how many were purple. My whole is 60 Skittles in the total in the bag, and 15% are purple. So let's do our cross products. 100x equals 60 times 15. When I simplify that, I get 900 divided by 100, and x equals 9. Well, what's 9 stand for? 9 purple Skittles. That's not what they asked me to find. They wanted me to find how many were not purple. Well, if I have 60 in a bag and 9 are purple, if I subtract the 9 that are purple from the 60, I'm going to get the rest of the bag. So there were 51 Skittles in the bag that were not purple. So that one you had to kind of do some work and then use that answer to get the answer you really wanted. So that one was a little bit more complicated. You had to pay attention to what you were reading and really notice this knot. But other than that, they're pretty straightforward. And that is it for percent equation proportions.